So I just wanted to take the next 25 minutes or so and give you a little bit of insight in terms of some of the things that Commission Junction has been working on for all of you. But before I do, I wanted to talk to you about coffee. Yes, coffee. I don't know about you, although I see a lot of coffee cups in the audience, but I am an absolute addict, admittedly. Always have been since I was a teenager. I gave it up one time and one time only in my life, and that was when I was pregnant with my daughter, Peyton. But as soon as I popped her out, although I would not call 20 hours of labor popping her out, I won't get into the nitty-gritty, but as soon as I did, I was literally back on the drip. And it's not just about the drink itself. It's really, you're with me, people, it's about the whole ambiance of coffee. The grinding of the beans, the aroma, whether it's in the comforts of your own home or a local coffee shop, the warmth of the cup, how it feels as it flows through your body. I just love the whole experience. And with that said, I suppose I need to thank the one and only Howard Schultz, CEO of Starbucks, because he has scaled this experience not just for myself, but for all of us in this room. And I was in New York a couple of weeks back, and as most of you know, there is a Starbucks on every single corner. And not only is there a Starbucks on every single corner, there is a line coming out of every single Starbucks on every single corner, is there not? And it's not surprising because they now have 17,000 locations over the course of 54 countries. When they were in hyper-growth mode in the late 90s, early 2000s, they were opening 1,000 stores per year. They had a compounded annual growth rate of 49%. And it was at the magic and the growth would never end until it did. In about 2006, which was synonymous with the recession, their growth started to slow. And for the first time ever, they recognized negative year-over-year same-store sales. And for all of you retailers out there in the audience, you know that that is the key KPI for analysts. They recognize -8%, -9% negative year-over-year same-store sales. And so although Howard had stepped down as CEO in 2000, he wrote an infamous memo to the senior management team in 2007. And it was infamous for two reasons. The first reason being that it was extremely critical in nature. The second reason being is that it got leaked. It got leaked to the press and pretty much appeared in every news media outlet. And some of the headlines read, "Is there malaise brewing at Starbucks?" And some of the criticisms that Howard had made of the senior management team is, we were growing for growth's sake. And because we were so hyper-focused on growth, we have lost the love, the romance, and theater of coffee. We have diluted the brand. We have commoditized the experience. He went on to say, I walk into a Starbucks store, I don't even know I'm in a Starbucks store half the time. I'm no longer smelling the aroma of coffee beans, but instead burnt cheese from the breakfast sandwiches. I'm not surrounded by coffee or coffee products, but instead books, media, entertainment, and in some cases, stuffed animals. There's big margin, just ask Ty Warner down the road, Beanie Babies. And last but not least, I can't even see the barista make my beautiful coffee drink because of these big, new, and improved coffee machines that we've invested in that block the customer's view. We need to get back to our heritage. We need to get serious about coffee, but at the same time, think differently. Because the consumer has changed, the competitive landscape has changed. Well, per the old adage, be careful what you wish for, sure enough, Howard came back in February of 2008 as CEO of Starbucks. And one of the first moves that he made was actually very contentious in nature. He actually shut down 7,100 Starbucks locations for 3.5 hours in order to train 11,000 baristas on how to make the perfect cup of coffee. Did he get flack from the media? Absolutely. Was he taken advantage of by the competition? Of course. Did he lose money? $6.5 million that day. But it was symbolic to Howard. He had to prove to himself, he had to prove to employees, he had to prove to his shareholders and his customers that Starbucks, once again, was serious about coffee. But he also knew that they had to think differently. So some of the other areas that they invested in was re-architecting a lot of the Starbucks locations to, again, regain that local coffee shop feel. They introduced Via, their first instant coffee. They actually listened to their customers and actually brewed a lighter blend called Pike Place. So these are just some of the initiatives that resulted in the graph behind me. They returned to growth. And in 2010, they recognized $1 billion in revenue. Their stock now hangs around $50 a share. So I share this story not because affiliate marketing is recognizing negative year-over-year growth. In fact, we talked about the exact opposite last year when I stood on stage, about what great growth that we're experiencing in this industry. Q4 of 2011 was off the charts. I have no doubt that Q4 of 2012 will be just the same. But I share this story more as a lesson learned. As we experience hyper-growth, how do we ensure that we continue to challenge the status quo, that we never accept mediocrity, that we continue to think differently as our competitive landscape changes, as our clients and consumers change? These are conversations that we're having every single day at Commission Junction. And today I wanted to share with you 3 of those conversations. I wish I had more time, but we'll start with 3 and definitely continue these conversations. The first conversation that we've been having at Commission Junction about thinking differently is around skills and experience. About a year ago, I looked across the Commission Junction executive team and realized that the average tenure was 11 years. Not total tenure, but average tenure. That's almost unheard of in many industries, let alone online marketing. I myself recognized my 13th year anniversary in July. And who would have thought when I started at Be Free back in 1999 that I would still be here having just as much fun today? How many of you have been in the industry for 10 plus years? So yeah, quite a few. Mr. Lewis, Brooke Schaff, of course. So yeah, a lot of folks. And then when I looked across the Commission Junction organization, I saw that the average tenure too was about 4 years amongst CJ employees. Also extremely atypical in online marketing. And I know this experience is one that our clients respect and appreciate, the fact that we can bring key strategies and recommendations to their programs on both the advertiser side and publisher side. This experience is important. But I also knew that in order to think differently, that we needed a fresh perspective, that we needed some new people at the table to be able to bring some new ideas. So today I wanted to introduce you to 2 of those fresh perspectives. The first perspective actually came to us courtesy of a ValueClick acquisition that we made last August by the name of Datomi. He was CEO of Datomi, and he was recently named in April COO of ValueClick. So he's now not only responsible for Datomi, but also Mediaplex, ValueClick Media, and of course, Commission Junction. So in short, he's my new boss, and that is John Giuliani. So. I've had a lot of fun working for John over the last couple months, and no, I'm not just saying that. You know, he's asking us questions that we may have asked ourselves 5, 6, 7 years ago, but they need to be asked again. There's now a different answer. So John will be here for the duration of the day. If you have not yet met him, please introduce yourself. He's hard to miss. I've been told the same about myself, so please do so. The second person that I wanted to introduce you to is our new SVP of Client Development, Pam Johnston. Pam joined us in June, and she's responsible for all of our advertiser relationships across North America. You can check out our website, but she has a very impressive resume. She's worked at such companies as Yahoo, where she was the regional vice president and COO of emerging markets, which is international for Yahoo. She actually has lived in Hong Kong for about a 4-year period, which will be very advantageous as we move into Asia later this year. But she also has startup experience in working with such companies as Divix, as well as a division of Target Media Partners. So Pam has really been taking a hard look at our service model. And this is one, too, that we've had for the last 5 to 7 years. But again, we also know that the needs of our clients on both the advertiser side and publisher have changed. And so therefore, we need to evolve as well to better support you and your growth now into the future. So I now feel like we have the best of both worlds at the Commission Junction table, where we can leverage the tenure and experience of so many employees within CJ, including members of the executive team, but also the fresh perspective of the likes of John as well as Pam. So the second conversation that we've been having at Commission Junction about thinking differently is really about the overall ecosystem of affiliate marketing. It's been a big conversation internally and also externally as well. You know, I love the transparency that we have within this industry. It's extremely atypical in online marketing. The fact that we know one another, that we can work directly with one another, that advertisers, publishers, networks, and agencies can talk about what's working, what's not working, what opportunities should we pursue in the future. But I also recognize that this transparency can not only be a blessing, but also a curse. Because sometimes we focus way too much on one another, and we lose the ultimate objective of what this channel is, which is about acquiring new customers and getting more from existing ones. We have lost sight that the consumer is really the center of the ecosystem, should really be the forefront of the conversation. I've witnessed too many advertisers making decisions based on publisher promotional methods, and they not only negatively impact the publisher, but they also negatively impact themselves, because in turn, they have less customers and less sales as a result. But I also recognize as a leader within this space, it's Commission Junction's responsibility to facilitate deeper and broader conversations. So I wanted to share with you several different elements in terms of where we're committed and invested in bringing the customer back to the center of the affiliate marketing ecosystem, back to the forefront of the conversation. And the first is providing more insights into the type of customers that are being driven by this channel. Believe it or not, this has never been done before. So we had an accessories retailer that we were working with that had some questions and concerns about a particular coupon publisher that they were working with, a very large coupon publisher. So with their permission, as well as looking at Commission Junction data, as well as other data that exists within the ValueClick family, we wanted to look at what is the average consumer being driven by this publisher look like. And what we found is this. On average, she's female, between the age of 34 and 45, operates in the occupation of sales, marketing, or finance. And yes, she's shopping through a coupon site, but her average income is greater than 150 grand. And not only does she engage in buying such things as accessories, but also other women's clothing, baby and children's clothing. She's also interested in things like weight loss products as well as photo sharing. Sounds like a pretty good consumer. And considering that females impact 95% of household purchases, either indirectly or directly, it sounds like a consumer that many of us would want in this room. So we're able to work with this advertiser to be able to make the best decision as it related to this publisher relationship. Most importantly, make sure that we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. That's just one area that we're focused on, is providing more insight in terms of the types of consumers that are coming through this channel. Now I know the next question becomes, well, that's great, Kerri, but is that customer new to me as a retailer, or am I getting more from him or her as a result of the affiliate channel? The infamous incrementality question. I don't know when it happened, why it happened, but the definition of incrementality has changed. It has gone from one of measuring lift of specific marketing activities to trying to predict consumer behavior. Trying to predict consumer behavior. What do I mean? So recently, I know, shocker, I was shopping online one Saturday. And it was a little bit of a shock to my husband because he's like, we just bought a house. Not only did we just buy a house, we renovated the master bedroom. We have no money. What are you doing any shopping online? And of course, I found a pair of jeans that I had to have, admittedly overpriced. So I put them in the basket, but then, have you done this? I stared at them for like hours. And then I walked away. I think I had lunch. I ran a couple of errands. They were still there, at dinner time. I'm still looking at them. And so, yes, I became one of those consumers that left the cart to go look for a coupon. And guess what? I found one, and I found a really good one. I found 40% off for new customers. It's meant to be. Validation. I have to have these. And literally I made that purchase in about 5 seconds or less. It was done, deal closed, had the jeans in a week. Now, from the advertiser's perspective, they may state, see, she was there. She put the jeans in the shopping cart. That sale was mine. From the publisher perspective, they may state, no, sorry, she needed that coupon in order to be able to close the deal. The challenge is, advertiser doesn't know. The publisher doesn't know. The only person that knows is me. And I will tell you, in that particular situation, I wouldn't have done the deal without the coupon. My point is, the incrementality conversation is a challenging one. We need to all be at the table, representing our unique perspectives, representing our unique data sets, so we can make the best decision based on the goals and objectives of all of us. The advertiser, what they bring to the table, obviously, is their customer file. They're the only ones that possess the customer file in which to compare the affiliate channel to. Commission Junction, we can bring our network insights, the information that we have on consumers as it relates to incrementality. And the publisher, too, they have their own unique perspective on new customers and incrementality. And we also know that they're doing a lot of things to drive new traffic to you. I've talked to several that have actually invested in nationwide commercial campaigns in order to drive awareness, not only from themselves, but for all the brands that they represent. We saw it last holiday shopping season. I have no doubt we'll see it again, where these publishers have actually invested in PR firms to get coverage on shows like Today and Good Morning America. Again, great awareness for this channel. We even had some publishers like Whale Shark Media invest in actually third-party reports with Forrester to really measure the impact of coupons on incrementality. And for those that have not read this report, it came out in September of last year. One data point really stuck out to me. I can see the Whale Shark folks over there. One data point really stuck out to me, which is that they looked at active coupon use versus light coupon use. And what they found is that those that were active, using a coupon 6 or more times in a 12-month period, on average purchased about $825 more annually. Incremental sales. So let's make sure we're all at the table sharing this type of information and data before decisions are made. That's all we ask. So the third and final point of putting customers back to the center of the ecosystem, back to the forefront of the conversation, is really trying to understand customer loyalty. It definitely impacts the affiliate channel. Customer loyalty has changed. I don't know how many of you saw the McKinsey report that was actually put out a couple years ago, but it really challenged the traditional consumer purchase funnel, which I'm not going to walk through because I think we're all very familiar with it. But what McKinsey has said is that it's no longer just a funnel, it has become a journey. Because there is a lot more two-way dialogue between retailers and consumers, there's a lot more information out there than ever before for a consumer to review and evaluate before they make their decision. So yes, they start with a handful of brands as they start to make that purchase, but now, during the active evaluation phase, they actually expand the number of brands that they're considering. So this is a key part of the journey that we need to invest in as a channel to make sure that we're giving advertisers and the publishers an opportunity to reach these consumers. But what's also really interesting to me was actually the post-purchase behavior that McKinsey evaluated. And what they found is that there's now two types of customer loyalty. There are active loyalists and there are passive loyalists. Active loyalists are those that not only buy a product, but will tell all their friends and family about it. Unfortunately, these active loyalists are few and far between. And the brands that possess a lot of active loyalists are few and far between. I can think of one. Anybody want to guess? Apple. Cult-like customer experience. Most of us in this room and most brands possess what are called passive loyalists. Yes, they're committed to a brand, but they're also very open to purchasing from others. In short, they're very likely to be hijacked. So it's very important that we are marketing post-purchase just as much as we're marketing to them pre-purchase. And obviously, the affiliate marketing channel can be a critical tool in doing just that. Gone are the days where they purchased once or I sent them a catalog, they are my customer for life. No more. So those are the three elements that Commission Junction is going to continue to invest and is committed to as it relates to bringing the customer back to the conversation. So we can have the bigger conversation and make sure that we continue to grow everybody's program as part of this conversation. Providing more insights into the customer, truly understanding incrementality as it relates to each of your businesses, and then also understanding the customer loyalty factor. The third and final conversation that I wanted to share with you today as it relates to Commission Junction thinking differently. And we've talked a lot about the skills and experience piece as well. But the third and final one is content. We've heard for years that advertisers, marketers want more content within the affiliate channel. And we've responded. How many of you participated in the CJX beta that CJ launched about a year and a half ago? A couple folks. The real objective of CJX was to make it much easier for content publishers to work with us. And so what we focused on was ease of use. We all know of the heavy lifting involved in affiliate marketing, and we thought, hey, if we made it easier for content publishers, not only will we attract more content, but we'll get more from them as a result. They copy, paste, or strip a code onto their site, and we will optimize on their behalf based on the context. Well, let's just say we learned a lot. Another way of saying, it didn't really work. Yes, ease of use is important when it comes to content, but it's not the only thing that's important. There are other areas of focus. It actually takes me back to a time when I first learned how to ski. I was about 11 or 12 at the time. I was the first one in my family to do so. And as most of you know, I grew up in Wisconsin. And so the next question becomes, where the heck do you go skiing in Wisconsin? Well, you go to the great mountains of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And you go skiing with folks that we call Yoopers. And so, yes, the Wisconsinites were called Flatlanders. And when Wisconsinites went skiing, especially in the late 80s, early 90s, it was not a pretty picture. We're talking jeans tucked into ski boots, bandanas to, remember this time? Bandanas to protect the face, headbands. I don't know what the heck those things did. They definitely did not keep you warm. So in preparation for my first high school ski trip, I was packing my bag, and my mother caught me as I was throwing every color of the rainbow bandana into my suitcase. And she goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "Packing." it is going to be freezing up there. You are not wearing jeans and bandanas to go skiing. So Sue took it upon herself to go get me a ski suit. And not only did Sue buy me a ski suit, she actually talked to the chaperones on the trip to make sure that I wore the ski suit. I'm not kidding you. And if I failed to wear it, I would be punished when I got home. Well, I don't know what Sue was thinking when she was shopping for the ski suit. I mean, it was like the full bibs, right? And it was like a little bell bottom at the bottom. But the worst part was the color. It was that just disgusting, bright green. I have no words, like how bad this thing was. I look really happy wearing it too, don't I? Yeah, so, and because I was self-taught, I would often cannonball down the hill, my arms a-flailing, and so I quickly, mind you, the first hour of that ski trip, I acquired the name Gumby. That was my nickname for the weekend, going into next week, next month, you know, pretty much for the duration of the year. And it wasn't until I actually hit a tree that people either stopped laughing or actually started laughing even harder. And after I was rescued by ski patrol, taken down the mountain on the toboggan, I got my head back together and I was actually taken under the wing by a chaperone who actually taught me the right way to ski and how not to hit trees. And what I learned is, okay, you want to turn, you turn your skis. No, it's all about weight distribution. I want to turn right, I put my weight on my right leg. I want to turn left, I put my weight on the left leg. So I'm happy to say no trees were ever to be seen again, knock on wood. I actually went and proceeded to live in Colorado for quite some time, which was kind of funny and ironic. But I was focused on the wrong thing. With CJX, we were focused on the wrong thing. But we're going to give it another shot because we learned a lot during that beta. And if we go back to the consumer decision journey and we talk about the active evaluation phase and how that's actually broadening the number of brands that are being considered, this is, again, an area that we need to invest in more as a channel. And so what we learned with content that, yes, ease of use was important, but what was more important is understanding the economics. You know, we know coupon, we know deal, we know loyalty. You guys are awesome deal closers. Search, you close business like no other. But content, they're not deal closers. But they're very important influencers, and they're becoming even more important influencers. But I, as a consumer, when I'm on a content site, I'm not necessarily ready to buy or even click, but I'm ready to interact with your brand. But we then need to recognize that value as an industry. So at Commission Junction, we're going to leverage some of our existing functionality, like view-through, that enables us to pay such content publishers on an impression to conversion basis. So it's still performance-based, but you're paying for that interaction. And in addition to that, we're going to aggregate the content sites that we already have within the network, recruit new ones, and make them easier to find for advertisers. So we're going to profile them. We're going to segment them by the online shopping categories that we all know and love. So if I'm a home improvement retailer and I'm looking for home and garden type of consumers, I know how to find them within the Commission Junction marketplace. And last but not least, we're also going to give advertisers the tools that they need to figure out what economics work best for them on a view-through basis and paying these content publishers. There is so much opportunity here that we have just barely scratched the surface. I'm confident with this model that we're not only going to be able to recruit and make it easier for content to work with us, but make them successful, make them drive significant volume for everybody in the room. So very excited about this third and final conversation about thinking differently. So I recently was in Starbucks earlier this week, and of course I was using the Starbucks dictionary to order my drink. For me, it's a tall mocha with soy, extra hot, that last variable being most important. And the cashier said to me, "Do you want your $2 treat receipt?" And I kind of smiled because I recognized this as one of Howard Schultz's initiatives during the recession They were very challenged at Starbucks in driving afternoon traffic. So they were trying to incent their morning customers to return in the afternoon by bringing back your receipt, and you would actually get any grande drink for $2. So Howard Schultz, he understands the consumer decision journey. He understands the importance, obviously, of promotions and incentives, how it's just as important to market to them post-purchase as it is pre-purchase. But one thing I'll leave you with is a statement that Howard made and that we can never forget, is that success is earned each and every day. Thank you.